Hi guys, welcome back to once again. And in my last video, we have discussed about validations in Laravel, and that was the part 1. And we will continue today on this topic too. So if anyone hasn't seen that video, then you can check it out. I will leave the link in the description box. So let's continue. As before, I have a post form to create a post, and on this form, we have implemented a validation in our post controller store form with the help of validator facade. Okay. In my last video, we have discussed also the request validate method. Okay. So that was the other way to implement the validation. And the today topic is we will start with the custom rule. Sometime we need the custom rule, uh, as the inbuilt rule was as the inbuilt rule is not sufficient at all. Then we need our custom rule with the custom logic, so we can define as a on the spot and use once only, because we are using the closer function method. So this function will take 3 parameter. The first one is a attribute. Okay. And the second one is the value, and third one is will be the fields. Okay, like this. The attribute contains the attribute name, the value contains the attribute value, and the fields we will use it if the logic fails, then we will return this fails object in this block. Okay, so let's say if value equals to test. Okay, or let's say, let's keep it simple, and here we just call the fails, and in this fail object we can pass the validation message. Body is invalid. Okay, or you can pass the attribute. Okay. So let's check it out now. And we submit it, body is required field, and if we input test, then we will get our error message. Okay, so using the closer method, you can define the validation on the spot, but sometime we need the our custom rules of validation to use it multiple places in multiple times. Okay, so for that you can define it in class separately. So there is a method php artisan make rule demo, and if you enter, it will create a rule class, a rule template, a rule class. Okay, with the predefined template in the app rules directory. It has the two main method, passes and message. Message contains the error message, whatever you want. The error message you can customize here, and here you will put the logic here. So for this, let's copy this logic from here and remove it first. Okay, and put it here. Here we will not return fails object, we will return only true and false. So return false like this. Otherwise, let's return true. Okay, and if you want to access the field name here, then simply there is a attribute placeholder. You can use it here. Okay, now we have a logic in place and error message, and let's use it in our validation. So for that we have to include it first. Okay, and in the validation array you have to instantiate that like this. Okay, and now let's check it out if it works or not, and let's pass test. Okay, so it is working. So we can define our custom rule in separate class and use multiple times in multiple places. Okay, so next thing I want to discuss that till now we are writing our all the validation rule here. So the thumb rule is keep your controller thin as you can. Okay, so we can separate it out in the separate class. So for that we can write the custom form request class. For this we will not use this request, we will use the custom form request class to validate. Okay, so if you use it here, that custom class, then all the requests for this method will be come through that class. So let's understand with the help of some example. So there is a method php artisan make request, and let's say demo request. Okay, and if you enter request created successfully, it will create a class in http app http request folder here. Okay, so this class has two important methods, authorize and rules. So authorize actually provide the access for this request. So you can use here the policies, the Laravel policies and the permission methods. So you can implement here, and on the basis of that you can determine if user is authorized or not for this request. Okay, so we are not implement that, you can, but you can. So let's return it true by default. So any request will be authorized if you use that, if you use this demo request. Okay, and in the rules section we will define the rule as we defined here. Okay, and for the demo we need to include the demo class also. Okay, like this. So we have a rules in place, and so let's use it in our store method. So first of all include it in the, on the top. Okay, and let's include it as a dependency injection here. Okay, and instantiate that demo for, let's say, for demeric. Okay, and we don't need this. Okay, let's comment it out, and or you can remove it, we don't need that. And validator, And on this object you need to call the validated method like this. That's it. You need to write the one-liner code and separate your all the validations in your custom request class here. Okay. Now check it out if it works or not. You submit, it returns what is required field. But I think, is it working or not? So let's dump here. It returns the message, and if we put the test here, okay, it's working. What is the validation error message? We can control all the logic from here. It also has the after hook. So with the, I think with validator, public function, sorry, with validator, and in this we define in this function the validator will be passed. Okay, and in this function we can define the after hook. Okay, like this. And this also take the validator. Okay, so this hook will be run before the actual validation will get evaluated. Okay, so you can place our some logic here before the any validation happen, and add the error message as well. So like this errors. Okay, the first will be field name. Okay, let's say it's a body because our field name is body, and here you can add the error message like this. Okay, so obviously this will be added on the sum of logic, like if something, okay, true and false, like this. Okay, so if we refresh our page here and submit, it will be called always because we have no logic here to add, but always add an error. Okay, so if you done something like this, then it will also it will always throw an error because we are adding an error always here. Okay, the other method on this request, you can define the customize the error message also, like we did the our validator facade. You can also customize the error message here. Okay, so there is a method messages, and return the field specific, if you want to return the field specific method, then you can define using the dot. Okay, body dot required, so it will be applied only the required validation on the body field only. Okay, so let's say body is must. Now let's check it out, refresh it and submit without any content expecting. Okay, okay, here we have missed out semicolon. So if we submit, body is must. Okay, so in this way we can customize the error message like this. The other method is the, you can also customize the attribute name. Okay, using the attribute method. Attributes and return. So let's say body will be a body field, let's say. Okay, like this. And now if we access here, okay, once again I forgot to semicolon. And if we submit, bodies must actually in the error message you can uh, access dynamically the field name using the attributes. Okay, now it will get the body field. So let's refresh it, now submit. The body field is must. Okay, so like this you can separate it out your validation part. Here in the rules you can define the message. With the after hook you can define the extra validations. In the message you can customize the messages, and with the help of attributes you can customize the field name in the error. Okay, so that's all for all the validation. I have covered almost all the things in my both part of the videos. This is the second part, and you can get access the first part also uh, through the description, through the link in the description. Okay, so thanks all.